In a health disclosure that has sent ripples through the political landscape, President Joe Biden's recent cancer diagnosis raises pressing questions about his overall health and the implications for his leadership as he approaches the 2024 election. This revelation has not only sparked concerns among his supporters but has also fueled speculation regarding the suitability of his candidacy during a time when the nation is facing critical issues. Biden, who has been in public office for decades, has faced scrutiny over his age and health since he took office in 2021. At 82, he is already the oldest sitting president in U.S. history, and this diagnosis seems to amplify existing concerns. As one political analyst pointed out, this diagnosis could shift the dynamics of the upcoming election, especially among voters who prioritize health and vigor in their leaders. The cancer diagnosis, while still in its early stages, could affect voters' perceptions, particularly in battleground states where every vote counts. The impact of Biden's diagnosis extends beyond the immediate political ramifications. The president's health has been closely monitored, and his administration has maintained transparency regarding his medical history. Previous health assessments indicated that Biden was in good health for his age. However, this new diagnosis begs the question of whether he has ever been fit enough to navigate the demanding responsibilities of the presidency. Despite the challenges that lie ahead, Biden remains committed to serving his term and has expressed optimism about his treatment and recovery. "I've faced challenges before and I'm determined to continue my work for the American people," he stated in a recent address. This resilience resonates with many Americans who appreciate his tenacity and dedication to public service. As the political landscape evolves in response to this health disclosure, Biden's opponents are likely to leverage this information to question his fitness for office. The Republican Party has already begun to amplify concerns about age and health, positioning their candidates as more vigorous alternatives. The potential shift in voter sentiment could play a decisive role in the upcoming election, particularly as other Democratic candidates may start to emerge eyeing a possible challenge to the incumbent. Looking ahead, it will be crucial for Biden's administration to not only focus on his health but also to effectively communicate his vision and accomplishments to the electorate. As the nation inches closer to the election, every aspect of Biden's health and public perception will be under intense scrutiny, shaping the narrative around his candidacy. In conclusion, President Biden's cancer diagnosis is a significant moment in his presidency, raising questions about his health and its implications for the future of his administration. As the political landscape shifts in the wake of this news, both supporters and critics will be closely watching how he navigates his health challenges while striving to maintain his position in an increasingly competitive electoral environment. The coming months will undoubtedly reveal whether Biden can rally his base and reassure the electorate of his capability to lead through adversity. In a significant move that has captured national attention, House Republicans are striving to consolidate their support for a tax cut bill championed by former President Donald Trump. As the GOP grapples with internal divisions and external pressures, the urgency to unify around this legislation is palpable. The proposed tax cuts aim to not only rejuvenate the party's economic agenda but also to bolster their chances in the upcoming elections. The bill seeks to extend and expand tax cuts initially enacted during Trump's presidency, reflecting a familiar strategy as the party looks to re-establish its economic credentials. "We believe that these tax cuts are essential to driving economic growth and providing relief to American families," said a Republican representative involved in the discussions. However, the path to unification is fraught with challenges, as various factions within the party express differing priorities and concerns. A critical point of contention revolves around the potential impact of these tax cuts on social welfare programs. Advocates for maintaining robust food assistance programs have raised alarms about possible cuts that could accompany the tax reform. "We need to ensure that while we are cutting taxes, we are not simultaneously cutting essential services that support our most vulnerable populations," a leading advocate stated. This sentiment has resonated with some Republican lawmakers, particularly those representing districts with significant low-income populations. The dynamics of this legislative effort are further complicated by generational shifts within the party. Younger voters, particularly Generation Z, have shown increasing skepticism toward traditional GOP policies, leading to questions about the party's long-term viability if it continues to prioritize tax cuts over social issues. Political analysts observe that this disconnect could hinder the GOP's ability to engage with younger demographics, a challenge that could have repercussions in future electoral contests. As negotiations progress, party leaders are keenly aware of the stakes involved. The tax cut bill not only represents a chance to rally the party base but also serves as a litmus test for the current leadership's ability to navigate complex political waters. This is an opportunity for us to show that we can govern effectively and deliver for the American people, noted a senior party strategist. Looking ahead, the outcome of this bill could set the tone for the GOP's direction leading into the next election cycle. If successful, it could reinvigorate the party's platform and appeal to its traditional supporters. Conversely, failure to unify and pass the legislation might exacerbate existing rifts and diminish the party's credibility in addressing critical economic issues. As the clock ticks down, all eyes will be on House Republicans as they attempt to bridge their differences and present a united front. The evolving political landscape suggests that the ramifications of this legislative push will extend beyond immediate policy outcomes, shaping the future of the Republican Party and its relationship with the electorate in the years to come. In a surprising turn of events, the U.S. Senate has unanimously passed the No Tax on Tips Act, a legislative move that could significantly reshape the financial landscape for service industry workers across the nation. This bill, which aims to eliminate taxes on gratuities received by workers in sectors such as hospitality and dining, garnered support from both sides of the aisle, reflecting a rare moment of bipartisan agreement in a politically charged environment. The legislation was championed by a coalition of senators with strong backing from key figures including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senators Sheldon Whitehouse and Alex Padilla. In a statement following the vote, Schumer expressed optimism about the bill's potential impact, stating this legislation recognizes the hard work and dedication of millions of Americans who rely on tips to make a living. It's time we give them the respect and financial relief they deserve. The No Tax on Tips Act is poised to provide much-needed support to workers who have been disproportionately affected by economic downturns, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the National Restaurant Association, approximately 70% of restaurant employees depend on tips as a significant portion of their income. By removing taxes on these gratuities, the bill aims to increase take-home pay for these workers, potentially boosting household incomes at a time when many are still recovering financially. The passage of this legislation comes amid broader discussions about tax reform and economic support for vulnerable populations. Data from the Economic Policy Institute indicates that the service industry has seen a slower recovery compared to other sectors, with many workers facing stagnant wages and increasing living costs. The No Tax on Tips Act could address some of these disparities, providing a more equitable framework for income and service-oriented professions. However, the bill is not without its critics. Opponents argue that removing taxes on tips could lead to a decrease in overall tax revenue, which may impact funding for essential public services. Critics also express concern about the potential for abuse, where employers might exploit the lack of taxation to reduce wages or benefits for service workers. We must ensure that this legislation does not allow for the erosion of fair wages under the guise of support, said a spokesperson for a labor advocacy group. As the bill moves to the House of Representatives for further deliberation, it remains to be seen how lawmakers will address these concerns. The outcome will likely hinge on the ongoing balance between economic support for workers and the financial implications for governmental revenues. Looking ahead, the successful passage of the No Tax on Tips Act could signal a shift in policy priorities, emphasizing the importance of protecting those in the service industry. Should the bill be enacted into law, It may set a precedent for further legislative efforts aimed at supporting low-wage workers, potentially reshaping the future of labor rights in the United States. As discussions continue and the economic landscape evolves, stakeholders will be closely monitoring the implications of this significant legislative development. In a political landscape marked by division and uncertainty, the U.S. House Republicans are making a concerted effort to rally support around a significant tax cut bill championed by former President Donald Trump. This initiative comes at a time when the party is seeking to unify its members and provide a clear economic platform as the nation gears up for the next election cycle. The proposed legislation aims to deliver substantial tax reductions to both individuals and corporations, an approach that aligns with Trump's previous fiscal policies. Proponents argue that such cuts could stimulate economic growth and provide relief to American families struggling with inflation. According to a recent survey, approximately 60% of Americans express support for tax cuts, particularly those that promise to alleviate financial burdens. However, the path to consensus among House Republicans is fraught with challenges as varying factions within the party voice differing priorities and concerns. We need to demonstrate to the American people that we can govern effectively and deliver on our promises, stated a senior Republican leader during a closed-door meeting aimed at solidifying support for the bill. The urgency of this initiative is underscored by the approaching midterm elections, where Republicans hope to capitalize on widespread economic discontent. However, internal disagreements over the specifics of the cuts, ranging from their scale to their potential impact on the federal deficit, could undermine these efforts. In parallel, the political arena is mourning the loss of Jerry Connolly, a prominent Democratic congressman and advocate for federal IT reform who passed away at the age of 75. Connolly was known for his efforts to modernize government technology infrastructure and improve cybersecurity measures within federal agencies. His contributions have left a lasting impact on how the government approaches technology and innovation, and he will be remembered for his commitment to making federal services more efficient and accessible. Connolly's death prompts reflection on the importance of bipartisan cooperation in technology policy, especially as the nation faces increasing cybersecurity threats and the need for digital transformation in government operations. As both parties navigate their internal dynamics and the complexities of public policy, the legacy of leaders like Connolly serves as a reminder of the potential for collaborative efforts in achieving meaningful reform. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the outcomes of these initiatives will be closely watched. With the Republican tax cut bill aiming to unify the party and address economic challenges, and the Democratic response to Connolly's passing highlighting the need for bipartisan cooperation, the coming months will be crucial in shaping the future of American governance. The interplay between these developments may very well define the trajectory of the upcoming elections and influence key policy decisions in the years to come. In a significant ruling that reverberates through the immigrant community in the United States, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for the termination of temporary protected status (TPS) for Venezuelans. This decision, announced on May 21, 2025, has raised concerns about the future of thousands of Venezuelan nationals who have found refuge in the U.S. amidst a dire humanitarian crisis in their home country. The ruling stems from a legal challenge that questioned the authority of the Biden administration to grant TPS to Venezuelans fleeing political turmoil and economic collapse. The Supreme Court's decision, which allows the administration to move forward with plans to end these protections, underscores a broader trend in immigration policy that has seen significant shifts over recent years. The TPS program was initially implemented to provide temporary relief to individuals from countries experiencing armed conflict, natural disasters, or other extraordinary conditions. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, in her dissenting opinion, emphasized the precarious situation many Venezuelans face. The conditions forcing people to flee their home country are not merely a matter of political strife, they involve life-threatening circumstances, she stated. This ruling, she argued, disregards the dire realities confronting those who have sought safety in the U.S.
Currently, around 200,000 Venezuelans are beneficiaries of TPS, which grants them work authorization and protection from deportation.
The termination of these protections could lead to widespread uncertainty for individuals who have built lives in the U.S., with many fearing deportation to a country grappling with severe shortages of food, medicine, and basic necessities. The implications of this ruling extend beyond the immediate concerns for Venezuelan nationals. It reflects a growing trend among courts to support the executive branch's authority over immigration matters, which could set a precedent for future cases involving TPS and similar programs for other nationalities. Legal experts suggest that this decision may embolden the current administration to further revise immigration policies, potentially affecting other groups of individuals seeking refuge in the U.S. Supporters of the ruling argue that it restores the balance of power among the branches of government, asserting that immigration policy should be determined through the legislative process rather than judicial intervention. The Supreme Court has reaffirmed the principle that immigration policy should be crafted by elected officials, not dictated by the courts, said a representative from a conservative legal advocacy group. As the ruling takes effect, many Venezuelans are left to navigate an uncertain future. Community organizations and advocates are mobilizing to provide resources and support for those impacted. Our community is resilient, but the fear of deportation is palpable, noted Maria Torres, an activist with the Venezuelan American Association. She emphasized the need for comprehensive immigration reform that addresses the complexities of the current situation. Looking ahead, the decision may prompt renewed discussions on immigration reform within Congress as advocates push for a more permanent solution for TPS recipients and other undocumented immigrants. The outcome of this case will likely influence not only the lives of Venezuelans but also the broader landscape of U.S. immigration policy in the years to come. As debates continue, the focus remains on finding a balance that respects human rights while addressing the legal and political frameworks governing immigration in the United States.